And good morning. Welcome to a Tadpoll for Thursday morning. We have a busy one again coming your way here from just next to the bakery here, and you can tell that we've been to the bakery this morning, and maybe a little some frosting on my lips there from the pastries. But we are going to be talking with Elaine Bowers, Senator of the 36th District. She's going to be joining us. And we had hoped they had Ken Rogers on, and I kind of wanted to have both the House and the Senate here talking about things. But we had Ken on a couple of weeks ago, so we kind of looked at what the House had. A lot has happened since then. But anyway, we're going to be talking with Elaine in just a moment. We'll also be talking about some things going on in the city. I'm sure Angie Wells is going to stop by and talk about the Riverless Festival. We're going to talk with Terry Thomason by phone. He's in Denver. We're going to talk about the annual trip the students and the adults take back east in the spring. We're going to be talking with Terry about that later on in the show, and who knows else might show up here. They just come to the door and has to come on. Elaine, thank you for coming on
Thank you.
this morning.
It's nice to see you. Good morning.
All right.
Good morning, Rachel.
My first question
Yes.
is always, why did you want to get in Topeka? I can't imagine anyone wanting to be in Topeka.
Well, thank you for having me come over, Tad. And this is my 12th year in Topeka.
Okay.
Just finished my 12th, 6 years in the House and 6 in the Senate. But I was encouraged by a retired Senate president from Concordia, Ross Doyen, if you all remember his name.
Right, yeah.
12 years as Speaker or as the President of the Senate, and he just said, you'd be perfect for this job. When I said, I'm just a mother and a business owner,
Yeah.
he said, perfect.
Okay.
And then I understand that. That is, I think the secret to the job is you have to be one of where you come from.
Right, sure.
I'm a mother, grandmother, business owner, native Kansan, farmer's daughter.
Yeah.
So all those things
You got
that
all
add
of that,
up.
yeah,
I
yeah.
do, and it's I just represent who we are,
Sure,
where we
sure.
come from, and it's not a hard job making common sense business decisions, basically.
Okay, so you're in the House for 6 years.
Yes, 3 terms.
And then, was it Schmidt that quit?
Yes, when the lines were redrawn,
Okay,
but after the
that's right, yeah.
redistricting, it combined the judges. It was legislature. The legislature couldn't pass the bill,
Right, yeah.
and so the judges redrew our lines basically.
Right,
So,
they did, yeah.
and sadly, with our population decline in rural Kansas, 2 Senate seats were merged together, and that was Senate District 21, which
Okay.
is where it was east, and then also covered Cloud County and a good swath in there, and with 36. So, former senators in this district would have been Janice Lee.
And that
Yes.
Janice, she was very,
Yes, very good.
She was
And
always very accessible,
as I think we're very similar in
Sure,
personalities
right,
too.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
and then Alan Schmidt, who I really enjoyed working with when I was in the House.
Sure,
He was
yeah,
a
okay.
very nice man too. So, and we still keep in touch, all of us. So, but there again, it's the type of people we are here, and party doesn't matter as much as representing rural versus the urban,
Sure.
and is what we discover an awful lot. So our rural legislators stick together really well, both House and the Senate.
I always have to ask this, then we'll get to talk about more things going on. Do you feel that 83 and the East and West, do a lot of people in the East, is it still that way,
Yes,
the East versus the West?
It truly is. They even say 81 highway. And,
I mean, 81,
yeah,
I mean, 81.
And one of my businesses, or both businesses, are on the east side of 81 highway, and
yeah.
Concordia is split,
Yeah.
east and west there. So I do see that as more the vision rather than party. I
Sure.
think we're all very independent thinking people too. What saves us right now is a lot of the urban legislators grew up in rural Kansas, so they haven't forgotten their heritage
Sure,
either.
yeah.
Their parents still live there, have farms and such. One more redistricting and one more generational change, then
Sure.
I think we'll see maybe less rural representation and more urban flavor. But one thing is we do bind together the rural people, and we do understand our needs, and we talk about quality of life, and that is something that we try to have the urban legislators understand.
Sure.
And Farm Bureau and other farm organizations bring out urban legislators to see what it is that we
Well, that's
have back
important.
here. And I think that it's teaching, like Leadership Kansas, bringing out the legislators or even urban staff to see where we come from and how we value what we do here and how we work together as teams and
Sure.
communities.
Okay, well, All right, so then you went to the Senate. Here's
Yes,
what I'm
yes.
going to do this, you know.
Yes, and it was a perfect opportunity. It was an open seat basically because
Okay.
Senator Schmidt moved west.
Sure.
At that point, it was Senator Ralph Osmeyer, who I like an awful lot.
Ralph,
And
yeah.
yeah, so Ralph and Alan were put together to run against each other, and that's a sad shame because both are really
Sure.
good men and
Yeah,
worked
they
very
were.
hard.
And I've known Ralph forever.
Yes.
And in fact, he used to officiate ball games, and I broadcast the ball games.
Yes,
And then we got to know each other through that.
Oh yes,
that
and
thing.
so very good people out
Mhm,
here,
yeah.
regardless of party again. And so they were Alan's seat 36. He became 40 and opened up 36. And then there was a primary I had, and then there was a general also. So that
Sure.
first go around. So, but it was a perfect opportunity to move into an open seat where there
Sure.
wasn't already an incumbent, and. I actually really do enjoy the Senate. It's 40 members versus
Right.
125
Yeah.
and more opportunity to become a chairman and to move up. And it's more subdued. It's a little more, I would say, calm how you handle the procedure where you stand up at your desk and you have to face the person in the chair, either the guest chairman or the president of the Senate or vice president. So it's a very controlled atmosphere. And so I do
Well,
like that
And
style.
I think our country was established over 200 years ago, I think that the Senate were the ones, I'm not saying had more money, but maybe better educated and everything, and the representatives were more the
Yeah,
common
the commoners,
people.
and
Yeah.
so it's more of like a slowdown.
Sure,
And the House, 125 members, they do pass a lot of bills out, and then at turnaround, when the House bills come to the Senate, we have not as much time, so
Sure.
we have to be choosy which bills that we hear, and so that's the chairman's choice
Sure.
on those committees. So there's a lot of bills that are checked out.
Is the whole Senate up for election?
No, not this term, or not this 2 years, but
You have
in
so
2
you,
years.
2 years.
So.
It's but they all go at the same time. Is that right?
Yes, all at
Now
the
that
same
that
time.
surprises me
Yeah.
because the way the federal government does, you
That's
kind of
staggered.
staggered a little bit.
And that's been some chatter in the hallway. Should we look at this? And then
Sure.
I am the elections chairman.
Oh, you
and
are?
it's
Oh, wow.
elections,
Okay.
local government, and ethics. And that could be a topic that we could explore. It is nice. That's a perk of being in the Senate of not to run every 2 years like the House members. So. And there's a lot of races this year too.
Yeah, I
I've
know,
noticed,
yeah.
and June 1st is the filing deadline.
I had Ken on a couple of weeks ago. He
Yes.
announced on here that he was running.
Has he?
again.
Oh, good, good.
He said, "This is the announcement. My wife doesn't even know
Oh.
it yet, but I've announced it now that I'm going to run."
It's probably a good thing to tell your spouse too. Yeah.
Well, you have a couple of years, and maybe a year or so to
That's
decide.
right.
When you decide, do you do a lot of pros and cons? You think
Yes,
about that quite a bit.
I did because when I ran for the House 12 years ago, our children were in high school and junior high,
yeah.
so we did home over the phone, and that was before Skype and
Sure, yeah.
Facebook and such as that,
Yeah,
that you can
yeah.
see each other like on your phones
Sure,
now.
yeah.
So it was missing sports events and some of those things. It was a sacrifice there too, and then of course in my business too. My husband and I work side by side. We have the Chevy Buick dealership in Concordia, and Concordia Automart's been in business 30 years. So
Wow. Okay.
so a sacrifice in my business where I'm there every day, but during my 90 days I'm gone in Topeka.
sure, yeah.
I'm not essential every day. So they had to learn to live around that. So yeah, there are sacrifices, but on the other part, it's very rewarding to be able to make a difference. And
Well, that's the thing, and sometimes I wonder, and not so much, of course, the Kansas has had our problems the last 6, 7, and money wise and all that. We'll
Yes.
talk about that a little bit, but. The compromise, is the compromise coming back in? You think a
I've
little
seen
bit?
it come back in too. And,
Yeah.
I also look at legislation similar to a car deal, that it is negotiation into the middle.
yeah.
And so I've always looked at bills from a business point of view, but I do. Compromise is not a dirty word. And,
no, it isn't.
it's, and I do like, people are smart. There's 165 of us who all come from different areas of the state, and we've had different backgrounds, different parents, teachers. So we all come with a different point of view, but we can blend those together to get
Sure,
the best
sure,
idea.
sure.
And it doesn't matter urban, rural, Republican, Democrat. We all do have different thoughts that can make a bill is just someone's idea, and you can make it a better
Right, yeah,
idea.
yeah.
And then protect it too.
And we've heard all about transparency, and I didn't
Yeah.
quite understand how someone can have their name put on
The bills,
on,
yes.
on the bill, you know. Is that was and that was addressed a little bit this year.
It was, and more in the House, and it is how a chairman runs their committee too.
Yeah.
We have a committee assistant who takes minutes. We do know who introduces the bill because someone does have to stand up at the podium
Sure.
and request this bill. And a chairman can also ask, "Are you introducing this bill on behalf of a special interest group?" Or and normally they'll offer that too.
Sure.
And then there are legislators who only want their name on the bill. So it's only their bill, but a lot of bills that come out are committee bills.
Sure.
And then that's where the committee accepts the bill
Yeah.
unless they choose not to.
Yeah.
And then it takes it from there. But we legislators do know who wanted the bill, and it's not hard to find who introduced
Sure,
it. It
right.
truly isn't. So I see there's a lot of transparency
Yeah,
already,
okay.
and I do like that too because we want open government where
Well,
citizens feel like they're part of the process.
And they know what's going on. I mean,
Exactly, and that you shouldn't hide things. These are ideas that you discuss out in public, and that's why I like the committee process so much. There's opponents, and neutrals too, but you hear both sides, all sides.
Sure.
And I always ask the opponents, if we change a section of this bill, would you be on board? That's where is that compromise to make this a bill that we can vote out of committee and then to work on the Senate floor? So that's always my goal, to get the best idea out of the committee.
So if the governor wants something, I know they do it. Trump will, not the federal government, the president will call, maybe get a vote changed or something. Do you get any kind of pressure like that from?
There are phone calls like that through my years
Okay.
too, but pretty much you know where
Sure.
you stand on an issue
Sure.
that you've worked with people back
Right,
home. I remember one bill was a pest control bill, and that's not my industry, so I called a company back home and said, "Do you all like this?"
Yeah.
So we pretty
That
much
makes sense,
Yeah, you since if it's not your area of expertise, you do know who it is,
Sure.
and so we pretty much know where we land on these issues too. And when you talk about the budget and taxes, those might be more the high profile calls
Sure.
that you could
Right,
get
sure,
too.
yeah.
And so I wouldn't say the executive branch lobbies this, but we do know where they stand on a lot of the issues too. But they also know where we stand too. We have a voting record,
Right.
and their staff can talk to us too. And I rarely change my vote. I know exactly
Sure.
what I'm doing when it's time to vote too.
And there are pros and cons to on lobbyists.
Oh, yes.
Someone told me lobbyists gets information to you. They don't always buy you all your meals. They also get information, and that's the advantage. Someone told me of having lobbyists. You can't do all the research. They can get it
That's
to you.
right.
Number one.
And exactly. And we don't have full-time staff. A lot
Sure.
of people don't know that. Some
Yeah.
states do, say Nebraska does, but we have an assistant during the 90 days there. And then we have research and revisers who work in the basement. They like to call it the garden level, but they're in the basement. So if you sent me a question you want answered, I send it to the researchers, and then the researchers who are nonpartisan, they'll put together
Okay,
the
good.
answer from the research and from the years of history. Now, lobbyists, I see them, and I also had a different opinion when I first went down there. I was like, they throw money at you and they
Yeah.
twist your arms. But what I've learned about them are they're very they're educators. They're specialists in their own industry, in their own field. Some are lawyers, some are retired legislators. Some are from that industry too, where they retired and then came in with the knowledge that they've had all of these years. And so I look at them on what information can I get on, or why do they like this? And then what is the opponents going to say? And then can you work with your opponents to make it better? But also, I know they're salesmen, and they're trying to sell me their point of
yeah,
view,
yeah,
and I have to know the difference of a sales job and giving me proper information and the facts.
Right,
But
yeah.
what does the other side say? That they accept their facts and would they
Sure,
work with
sure.
them? That's important to me
No,
too.
this is, and they get lobbyists have a bad reputation, but they, I've had people who say they help us sometimes too.
Yes,
They don't, and they don't mean the meal and the coffee and all
That's
that
right.
kind of stuff.
And if they don't tell us the full truth, then we can tell our colleagues what happened to us too.
Sure.
So they want that credibility
right,
with
yeah,
us
sure,
too.
you did.
And
Okay.
so, but I
We're talking about something, but
Yes, it's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is. All right, let's talk about what happened you found money
We
to
did,
help
yes.
with the education, and but what 90 million
Was last year,
was
and
missing.
5.25 million
Yeah,
right now.
right.
So right now they're arguing this in the Supreme Court just this week, and so we legislators are waiting to see if the court accepts what we did.
Sure.
Was this Does this meet the qualifications that they set
Yeah.
forth for us? Of course, this has been going on for decades and decades, even
Oh,
before
yeah,
I've been
yeah,
there
yeah.
too.
Oh yeah.
And so we're waiting to see if they accept it, and if they don't, the governor could call us back in for a special
Well,
session.
I talked to Ken Rogers this morning on the phone. He called over and he going to make it, and he said, "I think we're going to be going back, Ted." And reading the Salina Journal, the top story on the front page yesterday was it didn't sound like the judges were very happy, or with what had
That's right,
happened.
and I know the legislature commissioned a study, and from a lady in Texas who actually grew up in Salina too, and Dr. Taylor, and her report came back offering even more money, and a 95% graduation rate, and only one state in the nation, I believe it's Ohio, is at 91%. So we didn't meet her qualifications with this bill, so they could be looking at that study also. So
wow.
we're all anxious to see what's happening. We're following that every day
Yeah.
too.
When's the decision going? Is there a
It's-
date on that?
There's no date. It's up to the judges when they.
decide.
So we're all kind
Oh,
of just
yeah,
waiting along, and
like this,
and,
right?
and of course it's an election year for the House too.
See, this is the thing, too, because and I read all the editorials and everything in the papers, and every chance I get, I love editorials. I don't always agree with them, but at least you get some information. And the one comment was, it's the election year, and the number one thing is I'm going to reduce your taxes, and with this school thing coming on, that might not be a possibility this time.
That's right. Well, and then we were sure that with our revenue coming in higher,
Yeah,
in
and
fact,
that is really coming since.
yes. So in fact, in April, it was 20% higher than last year,
Yeah.
and that was $1 billion higher than last year even.
Sure, yeah.
So the revenues are coming back in, and you have to remember the tax increase that we passed last year was just restoring, but still less than the 2012 taxes that we paid
Sure,
before.
right, yeah.
And now there was a tax bill we attempted this year. It was in the Senate, and then it failed in the House. But one thing I hear back home that's very important to people is being able to write off their medical bills,
Sure,
and their
yeah.
property tax and their mortgage interest. That's very important to us, how we file our taxes. And also in that tax bill was decoupling from the federal government. So if you itemize at the federal government, you could itemize at the state,
Sure,
but
yeah.
not without one another. And that was appealing to a lot of us too.
And I don't quite understand, and I'm trying to, is that the federal government had their big tax
Yes,
thing,
it-
and then and that came back to the state, and the state could
Yes.
do something.
That's right. So
yeah.
it's coming back to the state. And a lot of states have passed laws now of how do you handle this money coming back to the
Yeah.
state? Do you give it back to the citizens, or do you put it into the general fund? And that was a question that we were trying to answer. Department of Revenue didn't have all of the facts for us to make a lot of strong decisions based on numbers. So it did fail in the House by not very many votes. So we can look at it next year. Maybe we're not out of time on that. But the important piece was those deductions coming back to me. And I was really sad. And back when the 2012 tax bill passed, I was in the House, and it was a motion called concur. It meant you agreed with the Senate's position with no amendments. And one thing that took away was the child care credits that we young families used to write off on our taxes. And that was important to a lot of us young families. And I used it decades ago too.
Sure.
That was something that was sad to go, but the deductions. So I was hoping that those can come back, and they're gradually being phased back in. So we'll have to see what the tax plan, but it is a windfall back to the states from the federal
Sure is.
government.
Yeah,
but
it
how
is.
do you
How you
handle that
it.
money?
Yeah.
And so we weren't able to answer that this year, but if perhaps next year we can look at that.
And not this last year's session, you kind of changed, had new people in there, and so you
Yes,
came
yes.
back to where the way. So there was an increase in that. It's just the way it was,
Yes.
and then it was brought down, and then
We're overriding the governor's veto.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's very, very rare for
I
a
know.
Republican legislature to override a Republican
I know
governor
it,
too.
I know,
And although sadly, when the bill came over from the Senate, a lot of we call them pay-fors, were removed. So what was a pretty balanced bill in the beginning that came over to the House to ask us a yes or no vote, up or down, would you accept this, took out a lot of the pay-fors that could have made this easier to
Sure.
swallow, but there again, the negotiations broke down, and this was a bill that the majority, not many over the majority, and
So, what do you think the court's going to do? I have a feeling they are going. I have a feeling they're going to say, "Come back and do something else."
I think it's a toss-up right now. I could say
really?
50-50, and I know every year we leave, we say, I wonder, like the special education money we put in
Sure.
last year, I said, well, that met that qualification, so we'll see. And so we'll have to see what they say.
Right.
If they come back with more specific, that's what I'm looking for. Do you want to focus on special education? Do you want to focus on fourth grade reading levels? I really like it when it's targeted on where do you need to place that money. And of course, I do want our rural schools to have the funding that they can have the quality of education. And then I love to see those young folks come back home after college too, that we talk about the brain drain. But I don't want to lose out where we live for the urban schools.
Sure.
So I'm very protective of that.
Okay, you see capers and KDOT and all these. You see
Yes.
is money coming back
Yes,
into them.
money coming back into and making the capers payment. You know, that in our business, if we said, now we're not going to pay this bill this year, we'll pay it next year.
Yeah.
That's what was happening. It's just very unbusinesslike.
Yeah.
And so we're making this last quarter capers payment, which was important. And of course, our roads too. We know when we travel to other states, but their roads are like, I don't want to see our Kansas
We have great
become that.
roads. They're
Yes.
not as good as they used to be because somewhere, because the money went somewhere else. But I think
And it's those 10-year T-Works projects that
I think that was a great idea.
I think so too. So now there is a new transportation committee, a task force that a bill that we passed, and they'll be doing another 10-year plan to look to review the last 10-year plan to see.
Those plans are good.
Yeah. So we want to make sure that we get people from our area on this task force. So I'll be working on that too, not just city and county government, but individuals and also say the people in the industries with concrete and road, sand and such as that. So we want the industry people on as well.
Okay.
So we'll have to watch for that to come up. And I believe it goes into effect July 1st, so we'll be wanting to gather names. And if anyone's interested, they should let you know to let me know.
I'm always interested in the committee that decides what the income is going to be in each month that comes in. It's been it's higher than the rest of every month,
Every
I think,
month
since
it is.
last year, hadn't it? Every
Yes.
month has been
Well,
up.
and a couple of years ago, one of the budget analysts said we had set the bar so low we could trip over it. So now we're back
It's up
at
there,
where
yeah.
yes, and I'm thrilled to death to see our businesses picking up as well. So we're collecting more sales tax, and that just helps our economy so much.
Sure does.
And so I feel good about what's happening too. And remember, these taxes are still less than what we were paying in 2012. And that's
Sure,
a
right.
fact that we don't talk about that much.
And I hear there's going to be maybe some cards sent out on that. I'm not sure you heard that. These cards you get in the
Yes,
mail.
those postcards, yes. And those are sent out, if sometimes the candidate doesn't even have a choice.
I know it. Now, that's the thing.
Yeah.
A PAC does it, right?
That's right, and they may not even know about it too.
Yeah, right.
And
Yeah,
so you have to take those with a grain of salt.
Sure,
And
yeah.
it's not the full truth, and because there's two sides
I
to
don't
every
like
story
To
too.
me, I look them, but I toss them.
I do too, Tad. I do too.
They just. Do you like PACs? You think PACs are important?
Well, to me, they're like the lobbyists. If
Yeah.
that's an organization that people want to
Has
belong to and donate
something they
to,
want done.
and they have a mission. And so, there's all different kinds of PACs. There's transportation, there's education. They all have, but there are those specialty groups that get together, and then members donate money. Even Kansans for Life would be a group too. NRA
Sure,
would be a
yes.
group like that also. So all different varieties there.
Well, I want to talk to you about what else.
Shall we talk about how old you
Yeah.
should be governor in Kansas now? So, of course, we made national news an awful lot with 16-year-olds running, 17-year-olds. So I was really flabbergasted that my predecessors decades ago
Yeah.
didn't set an age limit.
Yeah.
Isn't that fascinating? So 2/3 of the states have an age limit, and it's 30 years old. And 30 is I believe, based on what it is, the
Well,
age to run for U.S. Senate.
Sure.
25 is to run for U.S. Congress,
Okay,
for
yeah.
for you to set to
Sure,
be a
yeah,
congressman. And so it was basically any age in Kansas. So we had, and not only that, you didn't have to be a resident of
Yeah,
Kansas.
rather, I know some
And-
New York guy, he
Yes.
paid what, $2,100 or something?
Yes,
To come
sign
here,
27,
and now
right?
to me,
Yeah.
that's $2,100 down.
Just like that.
I mean, because I don't see him getting elected. I don't know. He
That's
said he
right.
would move here if he was elected. Wasn't a dog, even a couple of dogs?
Yes,
nominated?
and
See,
the Secretary of State's office said, no, you have to be a human being. So they kicked the dog off the ballot.
To
and
me, that's
so we did have hearings on this issue, and it came over from the House, and it was very interesting. We had a 17-year-old come in and testify, and I was hoping he'd make a good argument of why, and he didn't necessarily do that. So, but it's like the way I look at it as a business owner. Would we hire an 18-year-old to be CEO of
Yeah,
our billion-dollar
sure.
company who doesn't have a finance background, who just graduated from high school?
might be
So-
smart and everything, but
That's right, but have you earned it in life to have a life experience of how do you run a company or how do
Yeah,
you run the
sure,
state?
yeah.
So, and the House had, the version came over, it was 18, just that you were a qualified voter, just
Okay.
18. The Senate, though, our position was 30, and that was based off of running for U.S. Senate. And in the end, and if we talk about the process a little bit, the House has a version, the Senate has a version, and then in conference committee, it's the three leaders of the committee, the chairman, vice chair, and the ranking minority. We six sit down in a room with staff, and then we work out the differences with this bill. So on that was where the House brought in 18, we brought in 30, and we didn't want to budge very much off 30. We just felt like that was the
Okay.
right number. The House would not budge off 18.
Really?
So we said, one of my gang said, what do y'all think about 25? And
compromise.
then compromise. And then the three in the House went over and they huddled. And then they came back and said, we'll accept 25 if you will. So that is how this bill. So then I carry it back on the Senate floor. And there was a few other bills in there too that a conference committee report can have several bills. And that was the main one in there. But the Senate, we did pass both the House and the Senate. But also in this bill too is that the Attorney General needs to be a lawyer, needs to be an attorney.
Yeah.
And that was something that
That
wasn't
makes
allowed
sense. That
before
really
too.
makes sense.
And now the flip argument that they had in the House, and Ken could chat more about this, was also with the Attorney General's office, they have a strong law enforcement background, but not necessarily are attorneys. And they argued that point, but in the long run, it came down, we would like to see you have a law degree. You need to be an attorney, be the state attorney that represents a
Sure.
state in legal
Well,
matters. Yeah, so that was,
I think judges should be attorneys.
yeah, and a
maybe
lot of
not.
them come through that way. You know,
Yeah.
our municipal judges don't have to be,
I
and I
know-
see
I
a
know
lot
it.
of those good
When
judges
we
who,
had a municipal
Yes.
or a county judge here several years ago when they had a vacancy here. No, not county, municipal judge.
uh-huh,
The judge he called me and said, "Tad, why don't you run for that?" And I said, "I don't know anything about it." Well, it doesn't have, you don't
Mm-hmm. yeah,
have to know
it's,
anything.
and isn't that the real
Common
world?
sense,
Yeah,
common-
common sense. That's
common-
where we live.
Yeah.
They are people who live with us, don't have a law background.
But your common
and
sense,
that's right,
then.
and I really appreciate that. So I don't want to see that change. I'm very happy about that too.
Okay.
And so
What-
that was a fascinating bill
Okay,
that we
what
did.
else
Well,
here? I
we
don't-
could talk about telemedicine for a while
Okay.
too, and telemedicine is. Where you can Skype or where you can see your doctor through a TV screen and then have medicine prescribed. So you're not actually making that trip to another city if
Sure,
here,
right.
or
We'll
if, you know,
save you-
30,
save you.
60 miles away. So,
And
but then the
the-
doctors weren't being reimbursed by the insurance
Really?
insurance for that visit. So we did change that. So
And that worked,
that's
and that-
very
that-
good for
yeah,
us out here in
I
rural
saw an
Kansas,
editorial on that
telemedicine.
also, saying
Yeah,
that
so
what
I
they
think that's
did.
a very
Sure,
good thing
very
that
good.
happened. Let's see, what else could we talk about? With the budget, we're putting more money into tiny K and preschool programs, which I think is very important too, and also into our corrections. Our correction officers weren't being paid all that well, and we had a lot of turnover, but a lot of overtime being charged too. So we increased that budget. I think that's really important for us too, especially with
Right.
the prisons in our area in this
Yeah.
region. And the Amusement Ride Act, and
Well,
that
yeah,
was
that's what, yeah.
yes. So Senator Rick Billinger, who shares half of Phillips County with me. You know,
Yeah.
we have 3 legislators here, and that's a very good thing that you have 3 representing you.
Sure.
And when I first came into the House, Dickinson County, where Abilene is, they had 6. They had 4 reps and 2 senators.
Really?
And I said, this is
Wow.
really good for you because you
Yeah.
have all 6 of us polling for you. So same way with Phillips County, we have 3. So Rick, this is something that he's worked on. And the farther west you go with the little county fairs, own their own amusement rides. And sadly, with the bill that was passed last year that dealt with, and when these are emotional issues, and this was the young man on the super
Silver one,
slide,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
there in
yeah.
Kansas City, and who happened to be a son of a state legislature.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And the bill that was written to deal with amusement rides at that fact, and the unintended consequences when you pass a bill like this on how does it affect all of the state, and it called our small amusement rides.
Yeah, because they've, Norton County has it. They have it.
Yes, Ottawa County also,
yeah.
and there's quite a few in this area too. So the farther west you go, in our smaller towns, we own our own and we operate our own, like the Rotary Club, Lions Club,
Sure,
Optimist
yeah.
Club. We operate our own rides. And so it caught those little rides being inspected, and the inspections were very, very costly. But something we didn't also think about was our municipal slides too.
Sure.
The slides that we put in at our pools.
Right.
And so Rick worked really hard on finding that combination. And then also to make it to go into effect before July 1st, because some of our festivals start before most of the laws go into effect. So that this will help us back here too. But it still is keeping safety in mind also. And we haven't lost that. With slides that are over 15 feet tall, we'll have an attendant. And then the amusement rides will still be inspected, but not at the cost that they were.
There was also a death in Wichita from one of those
Yes.
things, that I think that was part of it too. And my grandkids used to visit in the summertime. We'd go over to Norton during fair time. They'd always come during, so we could, carnivals used to come around.
Oh, yes,
Not anymore,
exactly. Yes, because there's so few of those.
Yeah.
Well, we had to be careful it didn't catch
Sure.
bouncy
Yeah.
houses or hayrack rides or
Yeah.
pumpkin. So there's so many of those small
Sure.
things that we do that was being affected. So that was a good thing.
Good
And
thing.
Senator Billinger worked really hard on that. So when you have him on the show, you'll have to compliment him on that
okay,
too.
I will.
And let's see. We talked about the Transportation Vision Task Force. So if we know we have members, there's several things while we're off session that we can be involved with government in Topeka, and that is the governor appoints people to special commissions and committees in Topeka too.
So you go back and not
Yes.
during session, but to
That's
talk
right.
about
So-
things coming up, in
That's
the
right,
next
and we have
session.
interim committees that we're assigned to, but actually citizens in our area, if they have an expertise, we can offer their name for a committee that the governor is looking to fill. Like some commissions have 10 spots or
yeah.
15 spots, and they're looking for people to plug in there. So it's called the Governor's Appointment Office, and they look for over 1,000 individuals on boards and commissions.
Wow,
So
wow.
if there's someone who would like to be involved with state government, they should let us know, and we can see if there's an opening on one of the boards that they're interested in. I know a lot of openings are with mental disabilities right now and special education. So if we have people who are interested in that topic, we can look into that. And as we left, they didn't have a current list for me to say they're specifically looking for these people, but we can get them to the right office to see if they'd like to be involved with government at that level too. How about we should chat just a little bit about Norton County Honor Hunt with the veterans, and Tara Vance over in Norton would be the person that they would reach out to, but they're looking for disabled veterans. It's a free hunt, and it's December 7th through the 10th in Norton County. All expense paid, all their hotel, the hunt, and so they're looking for veterans who are
Okay.
disabled. So if we all know of anyone, we should have them get in touch with you, Tad,
Okay.
or Tara Vance, our Economic Development Director
Okay,
in Norton
over there,
County.
that's, knowing for long. Anyway, I
And
did-
then the Community Foundation works with that
Sure.
too, so that we should put a plug in for them.
Okay, yeah. I'm on the community foundation here in
Yes.
Phillips County, so, okay, we'll, if anyone, just get in touch with me and we'll get it
Yeah,
over
you
there.
can get it. Oh, yeah. So that's very important in our area
What
too.
we didn't ever, how many counties you
Oh,
cover?
yes, we didn't chat about that. I have 13 counties,
Wow.
and it's about 11,000 square miles, not
Wow.
quite.
Ooh, wow.
And Senator Billinger has the largest Senate district, that's 40. He has the largest, one more county and probably 3,000 more square miles than I do.
Wow.
So Marysville is the anchor on the east side. Phillipsburg is the anchor on the west.
Okay.
And my entire House seat, when I was in the House, my entire House seat is in this Senate district too.
Okay, okay.
So it was a very good step move over to here because I kept 107. And 107 is different now. It has different counties now, but I had my 21,000 people. So we represent 71,000 approximate people. And I drive a lot. So, but we have great roads here, Highway 36, Highway
Right,
24,
right.
81, 281, 183. They're very nice roads that are maintained. And so I don't mind driving.
And the 383, they're going to fix that a couple years ago, and then they ran out of money.
And then it's back
they're
on the
it's
list.
back on now. Yeah,
Yes,
Kansas Fantasy 380 completely
Yes.
overdo the thing up there
Oh, yes.
between
And-
Long Island
Yes.
and Alameda.
And isn't that a beautiful road too?
Oh, it is, yeah.
And even our roads here to Russell County are just stunning. You know, when people talk about Kansas being flat, we are not a flat state, not at
That's
all.
for
and-
sure. Okay, well.
So I do have a Bill of Rights essay contest that we can talk
Okay,
about.
all righty.
Yeah, so let's do that, and you might have more guests waiting to talk to you.
yeah,
So
are they out there waiting? Okay.
So,
are they patient?
they're
Okay,
very
all right.
patient. So this is the National Foundation of Women Legislators, and the NRA has a Bill of Rights essay contest. They take 6 young winners. It's for young women who are juniors and seniors, and have a $3,000 college scholarship. And this year the event will be in Washington, D.C., November 13th through the 17th. And if young ladies would be interested in this essay contest, they could reach out to you, and you can get a hold of me.
Okay.
But a $3,000 college scholarship would be very
is
nice.
It a contest? Is it a?
It's an essay. They write
thing.
an essay, and it's usually on patriotic. It always is on patriotic,
Okay,
and they'll
sure.
have a topic. They didn't have the topic assigned that I could tell you today,
Okay.
but a lot of them have been women leaders, but a lot of them are rights that our Constitution gives to us and our founding fathers.
Yeah.
So if that would be something that our young ladies in this area could look for too. So I want to let you know, we go back in our 90 days. You know, we say we work 90 days,
Yeah.
but Ken and Rick and I are not 90-day legislators. We
Well,
are full-time, all the time,
Sure.
available to anyone. And can I leave my phone number if
Oh,
they'd
yeah,
like
that's
to reach
fine,
out to
yeah.
me too? So same area code, 243-4380. Will get to me at my car dealership. So I'm there when I'm not out doing
Sure.
things like this with you. And we go back in January 14th at 10 o'clock in the morning. So that's when we'll be back in Topeka next year.
You have a new governor.
Yeah, we will have a new
Well,
governor.
maybe not a
or
new
maybe
gov- or
not.
maybe
That's
not a new
true. Yeah,
governor.
it could be our same governor who was lieutenant
we have
governor.
an elected governor. is what
Yes,
we'll
that's
say.
right.
We're
A new elected governor.
Okay.
And in fact, Lieutenant Governor Collier, now Governor Collier, came into the House with me 12 years ago.
Oh, he
So
did,
we were mates. And the best part with him is that he has been a legislator. He knows what we're doing. 165 of us. So it's a different relationship we had than with Governor Brownback, who was a senator at the U.S. level.
Yeah.
They do things different in D.C. than we do here in
Yes,
Kansas.
yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And some aren't always the best either, but
That's right. But
that's an
we,
editorial comment.
I like to say we're the real thing where we come from. So
I'm going to have to ask one more thing, these school shootings and stuff.
Oh, it is
you
very
see- you
sad.
It's very sad. Do you see anything happening
well, in
when you
this
come back?
in this last budget we passed, there is more money for schools for security, and that's kind of a piece that people haven't talked about much.
Right.
And the schools are doing it. I know even when my youngest is now 24, but the front only one door is locked.
Yeah.
And when I took my granddaughter back to school the other day after a dentist appointment, we had to buzz ourselves in. They would not let us in.
That's,
So schools are
Yeah.
they're doing exactly the right thing, but how we
Sure.
how we don't let those guns get in that front door would be the diligence. And I like our resource officers,
Sure.
the policemen who are at the schools. And it is very sad.
And I don't know about, and I will get into the arming teachers and all, we'll get into all that. But the school here, I know they used to have a back door And you go in on any time, you know, you could have gone in with the whole militia.
That's right.
And now that's
And now
locked all the
it's
time, and you
very
have to
good.
buzz in to get in the front.
Yes, yes. And, you know, arming teachers, we can do that in Kansas, but it's certainly up to the teacher. But it's
Sure, yeah.
more yet, it's up to the school boards.
Sure, right,
And
yeah.
we really don't want,
Take away theirs.
yeah, you don't want the Topeka setting down mandates where we can do this better at the local level because we know ourselves here. So it's very important the school boards know what they want, and then the teachers know what they
Makes
want.
sense, yeah.
And that's the way it should be
Sure,
done.
yeah. No, because there's a lot of things about federal government telling the states what to do, and
I know,
states'
isn't it?
rights,
It's a
you know,
trickle
now,
down, isn't it?
About Topeka telling people in Phillips County or Norton County what to do, you know.
That's
not
exactly
the-
right.
Yeah, and it's a good thing we have representatives back there that kind of hate this. That's not going to happen there. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Well, no, I think I covered a lot,
did.
Tad. We did, and I'm thrilled to be here. So
Well,
thank
I'm
you for
glad
the
to have you, and
invitation.
I'll tell you what. If there's a special session,
Yes,
you're
we'll
going
come
to
back.
hear from me.
Oh, we'll come back
after
to
we'll
it.
come back. Okay.
Oh, hey, let me say one more
Okay,
thing
sure.
for the people who love history, and I wasn't able to join you
Well,
last
no,
Thursday.
Yeah, I was going to mention it. I forgot that. Yeah.
Yes, there is a new mural, first one in 60 years, unveiled in the Capitol, and it's Brown versus Board of Education, and it was the 60th anniversary, actually, of that ruling from the Supreme Court. So on the third floor, the old Supreme Court room, remember the State House was like the giant courthouse of the state.
Sure,
so
yeah, yeah.
the judges met in the old Supreme courtroom. Now is a committee room, but on that wall is a mural, and it's a teacher with students surrounding her, and in the background is kind of, you know, the Supreme Court and the riots and the police. So you see all that chaos in there, but also when school kids go up, they can see this teacher with the kids around her
Sure,
with
yeah.
the books, and so it's a very beautiful mural. And he is a Kansas artist, and he also made it blend in with the other murals
The
in the
John
building.
Brown?
Yes, so you'll have that same flavor when you go to see. So any of the history buffs who would like to see this beautiful piece of art
And you know
need to
what's
come.
you know what's always got me is that instead of Georgia or Alabama or Louisiana, it was done in
It was
Kansas.
So many things have started in Kansas.
Yeah.
That's the
You know,
exact truth.
And if they don't know that's the Brown versus that took away segregated
That's
schools,
right.
yeah.
So children of the same
Could go
race will
anywhere,
go
yeah,
to the same
yeah,
and
yeah.
have the same teacher, have the
Right,
same
yeah,
education.
sure, right.
And the mother of Louisa Brown, who just sadly passed away a few months ago, she was there. She was 97.
Wow.
So the mother of the little girl within the court was there too. That was just fascinating. But it's a beautiful mural. And remember that the Capitol is like a working museum. So anyone can come in. The entrance is on the north side.
What's the security like getting in?
You do go through security coming in.
Pretty tight.
Nothing like an airport, but they do screen you, and of course, no guns coming
Yeah,
in
sure.
too. And so, but there is only one entrance, and I always wonder why our founding fathers put the front door of the Topeka Capitol on the north side of the building.
Yeah.
But it's very
Okay.
easy to get in, and then you're in a wing of the historical museum. John Brown swords down there,
Yeah.
tools that built the Capitol are there. A sledgehammer that broke down doors to the House. Let's hope
Really?
it doesn't get
That's-
that bad in the future. House of Representatives in there. Page of our Constitution.
I was several when Janice was still senator.
Yes.
She had a proclamation for me for something, and I
Yes.
went back to it, and I was pretty boy. There even had all the senators there, and she said something, and Osmar Ralph got up and said something
Yes,
too. And I was surprised about that.
Oh,
you know,
that's what we can do as senators. So, and we like to honor our people at home who do good things. So
Well,
I'm proud you were there.
Well, yeah, it was neat.
It's
I
a-
really
it's a-
enjoyed that. Yeah. So okay, and
Well,
thank
well,
you, Senator.
Tad, it's
we'll
nice
have
to
you
know you.
back
I'd love to come
there's
back.
when you see a special session. I'm going to
All
get a
right,
phone call.
I'll be waiting for you. All right, you send me a text. Okay.
sure will.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. You have a good trip back, and what you're doing a little taking your.
Yes, I'm a
Benson.
grandma too, so
Okay.
I'm doing dentist duty today. So when I get back, I'm headed straight to Salina. So
Okay,
I
fine.
think I'll get to my dealerships for a few hours yet
Okay.
today
Yeah,
too.
that was a
I do work,
question.
yeah.
Yeah, you do work, and is that. You know, you're working here, and maybe doing all of a sudden has a question, you have to drop
That's
everything,
right.
do things.
And here's something we didn't say. It's not always what I know, but who I know
Okay,
too.
sure.
So we know those people in
Okay.
Topeka
Since
who
he
can
got a
solve
hold
the
of them.
problems.
Okay,
That's
fine.
right, constituent service
Okay.
we call that.
Thank you, Senator.
Yeah,
I hope I don't have to get in touch with
I
you.
hope not. But well,
But
I'm
if I
thrilled.
do, we'll have you on.
I'm
Thank you.
happy to come over it.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Tad.
Thank you. All right, we talked quite a bit this morning about what's happening in the Senate, and we're going to be talking about what's happening in the city of Phillipsburg here in a moment. I think that's who's coming on next. The course at Tadpoll brought to you by the First National Bank and Trust, proudly supporting Panther Athletics. From our sales floor to your delivery door, come see Jim and Terry at Olive Bowie Furniture and Appliance, where they provide gracious living for less. Professional Family Eye Care, see Dr. Gilman for all of your eye care needs. Coombs Trucking, you call, we haul. Wyman Firestone, tire sales and service, backing the youth of Phillips County. And Biggs Insurance for all of your auto, home, business, and farm insurance needs, making it possible for us to do this for you every Thursday morning here on the Tadpoll. Coming up Saturday, while we're waiting for our next guest to come in, Saturday, we go down Friday afternoon, tomorrow afternoon, getting ready. Oh, we have a lot of guests coming in, looks like. Saturday, we will be in Wichita at Cessna Stadium. We're going to do our sports talk at 9 o'clock. And then at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we have some stuff going on. And then all during the day, if we can work it out, we're going to be down on the field talking with individuals who have done well at track from our area. We'll be doing that live. You'll be able to see that. That's coming up on Saturday in Wichita. So it's going to be a busy day. State track and field. There's nothing like it. All righty. Who are we going to have on first? Let's see. It's going to be, okay, Tim and Brenda will be joining us this morning. Good morning, folks. Good morning. Thanks for being patient out there. I hope you didn't have any big crisis out in the city or anything.
You know, it was really nice to just sit there quietly and no phones ringing, so we're good with that. I want to apologize first because cold, so gonna have to drink a little water.
That's fine. Well, hey, I have to drink it too. Oh, see, now I didn't have a chance to talk to you before we went on the air. I have a feeling CDBG's coming up, right?
Good guess.
Tim and Brenda. Okay, who's gonna? Well, you're talking, or both of you talking about CDB?
Well, I'd like to talk about the survey a little bit.
Okay, how's the survey going?
The survey, we need help. We're over 50%, but we still have a long way to go.
And it has to be done this month, right?
We need to have it done this month because we need to make the final decision, or the council needs to make the final decision of how are we going to finance this project, and so we need to know whether we qualify for that application or not. So, please call the city office. We can take your answers over the phone. We're going to have some walking, knocking on doors again. We will be calling you. Please answer your phone when we do.
You see it on your caller ID. It's not about turning your water off or anything. It's about what?
That's a good idea. We could tell them that, and then they'd answer. No,
Okay.
no, we just really need your help, and we need
Sure.
you to participate in this and give us your info. It's not. The public can't walk in and view these. It's kept private among our counters, and then we have them for the state people who audit. But we just really need your help. It's up to a value of $600,000 to our community each time we put an application in. This survey will probably be good for 4 or 5 years. So that's a lot of money that we're leaving on the table if we don't get the survey done.
And it's not, people I talk to, everyone I talk to says, have you done it yet? No, do it. And they say, well, I'm not going to, my taxes are going to hurt. It has nothing to do with taxes. It has nothing to do with taxes. It's no conspiracy.
No.
And people say, well, the government wants to know about it. And,
No, and it's not, it's a range.
Yeah.
You tell us how many people live in your house, if you're related. We look at say there's 2 in your house, we go to the little chart that says 2, and it tells us, from here to here, we mark box A. From here to here, we mark box B. So, you could even tell us, we could ask you the maximum question, and you can say yes or no, and we don't even have to get down into the nitty-gritty if you don't want to. We just need an answer for that top number for sure. And then we do, they want some of the information about race and female head of household and disabled, but that's just, how many of you in your house are disabled or whatever. It's very simple. The IRS will never see these. Never, never, never. And I wish we could reword some of the questions and make them more clear, but this is the mandatory form.
And
so.
it's say that money's there, and if we don't get it, someone else does, and,
absolutely.
and it's needed. Is that why you're going to Tim about
Yeah.
what's
Correct. I mean, we do have some very large needs ahead of us. You've heard us talking about the Quan's Reservoir. Quan's Reservoir is a reservoir that we acquired back in the early 80s from the refinery. And the state has come in and instructed us that we will cease and desist using that in the short future. To replace that particular reservoir is about $900,000. So we're going to be forced to spend that money. So when you start looking at the importance of these surveys, you start looking at, do you want to have your city and community fork up $900,000, or would you rather have us fork up $400 or $450? It's not an if.
No, it's happening. It's going to happen.
We're going to have to do it. And it's such a crucial part of our infrastructure for our water supply that we can't go without it.
No.
And we've been doing some research on what it's going to take for us to pay for this, and your rates are going to have to go up, and it's not something that we want to do by any means, but you could see substantial rate increases to well above $3 a person just to be able to pay for that specific infrastructure, and that's just to build it. So we're looking at all the options out there to try to find means to partner with somebody to help pay for that. The community development block grants are so accessible to us if we meet the criteria, and it just makes it so our community has a partner on a lot of projects. And like Brenda's talked about, this isn't a one project stop. They'll fund a project or possibly fund a project for every year until the next census. So you have a huge amount of resource available to you.
And we've used them before, haven't we? We've had the CDBGs before.
We've used them for sewer projects. We used them for water projects. We were able to meet that goal, but it did take us doing these surveys again. And fortunately, they have expanded the rules. Back then, when we used them before, the survey was good for one project, so every project we had to do one. Well, now they expanded, so it's good. Once you hit it, it's good until the next census.
Until the next census. What's that, every 10 years? They do it every 5 or something?
They will do a census in 2020. They do it every 10 years, the Fed do. And that's another key point, too, while we talk about this, is when you do your census, please fill that out, that income part out, because if the census would come back after they do all their numbers and we were already over 51%, we'd never have to do a survey. And so, it is important, it's critical. It is a very competitive program, CDBG is, so we need all your help.
Okay, now, criteria a little bit about this. They need this survey because they have to have so many lower income, they have to have so many to make you eligible, right? And that's why you have to know how many families here are that way, right? Is that important? So if we were all millionaires here, there wouldn't be a chance of us getting a CDBG, right?
Not a chance. It is meant to help low to moderate income persons. And our goal is to show them that we have more than 51%.
Okay, that's what it is, 51%.
And they go by population. And we're also surveying those that use the water system and sewer system outside the city limits. And so since they're not part of our community population, for every house, it's 2.4 people that we have to add to the number
Okay.
that we have to show this income. So it's really, really important. We get them as many back as we
Sure.
can.
Okay. And you say how many do you need? Still quite a few.
Yeah,
Okay.
we still need over 500 persons.
Oh, wow. Okay. But you,
So every family of 10, please respond, because one survey with 10 counts 10. See?
Really?
Yeah, see?
Okay. Well, I didn't know that.
Big
Okay,
families,
okay.
wonderful, we love you.
There's no way. There's no way. I'm not. I'm going to say it because I don't mean it. I'm going to say that there's no way I get a stack of that many and fill them all out. And, there's safeguards on that, aren't there?
Yeah, as you know,
Don't do it. Don't do it.
there are names and addresses on the survey. We also have to provide them a list of our accounts. So yeah, they're gonna,
Yeah.
and they choose cities to audit, and they
Really?
will sometimes call these people
Really?
and say,
Okay.
"Do you
So
remember
did you do
filling this
that?
out?"
Okay.
And
So for goodness sake,
Correct.
do it.
Yes.
And if you haven't, I did it. I got my bill that day. I came and,
Yes, you
and,
did.
and handed it in right away.
And we are very pleased with that.
and I'll do as I do on something like that, because it is very important. And things get better with infrastructure. Very important infrastructure. It's better to have that money. A lot of it come from somewhere else than to come out of your. And if you had to
Yes.
make up for that, would it be increased taxes or increased charges to do this stuff?
We increased on your water rates.
Yeah, see,
so,
and that- yeah.
it's always nice to partner with somebody else and we can spend somebody else's money.
It's much easier on our pocket.
Okay, so
So
you haven't. Just it really has to be in this.
I really, really need it in by the end of the month. So please call the office. We can ask you the questions. If you want to fill it out and tell us to come pick it up, we will do that. We just need your surveys,
Yeah.
and we're going to be very aggressive this next 2 weeks. So please work with us. We don't mean to bug you, but please.
Come to your door and say, if you don't fill this out, these two guys behind me are in the black suit.
There you go. The goon squad.
Anything else on that?
Well, I kind of want to introduce the mayor and Councilmember Brett Miles are going to be coming in.
Okay.
And they're going to be talking about some things that the council's going to be doing. But to get into that, I want to share with you all that in August, the city is going to be paying off the sewer plant bonds.
Wow. Okay.
And we're going to be doing this about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years early.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's because of the 0.5% sales tax that was put in place by the voters. That earned enough money to pay them off early. And so the local banks had bought them, and we certainly appreciate it because they didn't have to say yes, that they'd take our money early. But by doing this, we're going to be taking that 0.5% off.
Really?
Because it was mandated just
Okay.
for
So
those.
so once that's taken, you can't get any
Right,
more. Oh, that's
right.
Well,
Yeah.
that's too bad. We can maybe put it somewhere else.
Right. Well, we're going to let Mayor Munyon and Councilmember Miles come in and talk about what the future looks like
Okay,
for
all right,
that.
very good.
But just wanted to let you know that we're going to pay off
That's good.
$680,000 early.
Wow. That's
And,
great. And
we
is that
appreciate
that's
that.
good management, right?
That's good management. It's good sales in our community. It shows that our business is healthy, and we appreciate all
Wow.
that put towards
That's
that.
great.
So,
That's,
yeah.
that's it. Okay.
All right. Well,
When are you going to start doing the west, the high 30?
We were
36?
notified from KDOT that the contract's been let.
Okay.
Due to some funding issues with KDOT, they have pushed the start date back to September.
Okay. Still the same bargain though,
Yep,
with it.
same bargain. They're just going to move back September. It was going to be a June start date,
Okay, so
but they're going
September.
to push it back a little
But
bit.
that big bargain, it's the most amazing thing. All that the city got that deal,
We were fortunate. We were very pleased with it.
Okay, anything else? Everything
Yes,
work?
one more thing. Congratulations, Tad, on your
Oh.
award you're getting in Wichita,
Thank
your
you.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
It's been an honor to get to set at some of these
well,
sporting events
you
with
used to do wrestling.
Yeah.
She used to do my color red. I had no idea what the hold was, and she said, "Well, that's that. You got this and that." So she used to go around
So-
with me and do these things, at regionals and stuff like that.
We had a good time.
Yeah, we sure did. Yeah, it was very
So
good.
Well deserved award for you.
Yeah,
Ted.
thank you.
is.
I'm
Very
really looking
proud.
forward to that. Years I went down there, and on Saturday afternoon I'd be up in the broadcast booth, and you'd see these people come on. So that's kind of neat,
Yeah.
and I got a note from him that said, "I don't have to say anything. You can just wave at both sides." Is what you could do. So, and Rachel's going to be there doing it live.
Wonderful.
Very good.
Yeah,
We'll be watching.
yeah, it's going to be live just right here. So I'm looking forward to that. So okay, thank you.
Well, congratulations.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
We'll let the next group in.
All right. We might, while I get in here, we might remind you that all your friends at the Farmers State Bank in Phillipsburg help bring this program to you, where interest begins the moment you enter the door. Interest in your member FDIC. The Bapes and Miller, it's not what you make, but what you keep. Mid-America Real Estate, providing the best homes in the area for over 40 years. Blossoms and Butterflies, making beautiful flowers a part of your life. Sign Solutions, your one-stop sign shop, and so much more. Madison Motors, in business for over 70 years, and Rogers & Associates, your local trusted choice agency. All right. Good morning. I guess it's still morning. I've been here for a while.
Hi, Dad.
Good program. Yeah, we had great interview, I thought, with the latest senator there from Concordia. It really went well. We're going to talk more about city. They kind of laid the groundwork about when you get those sewer bonds paid off and everything ahead of time, and good counsel and well, a lot of that was done when you weren't mayor, but now you're paying it off when you're mayor. See, so so what are we going to talk about? Brett Miles, the Lance Bunyan mayor, and his council. Okay.
Well, first thing I want to talk about is the streets, which ties into the half-cent sales tax that we're
Sure.
eliminating and then trying to bring it back. I don't know whether everybody's noticed. If you drive by some of the streets just north of the highway, around Alta, Credit Union, it looks like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
They're patching the cracks, and then our intention is we will put a sealer over the top of that that will show you the finished product.
Okay. All right.
We haven't got that approved through the council yet, but that will probably be at our next meeting. We want to show the citizens actually what the street done to them every 3 to 4 years.
Mhm.
Well, in years past, when I was on the council, we didn't have the money. We started out that we tried to do 25% of the streets every year.
Right. I remember.
Well, so that was 4 years to get them all done. Then we went to 5 years, and then we went to 6 years, and then pretty soon they just were neglected. So if we don't do something now, our streets are going to get in pretty sad shape. We've stretched everything we could this year to get them crack sealed, and then I think we can only put the top sealer on like 15 blocks. But when we get that done, we'll try and let the public know those are what the streets are going to look like when we're done.
Mhm.
There's basically 3 ways we can do a street. We can chip seal, which most people ought to know what that's like. You put oil on,
And
then
we
you put the
that's
rock.
where we did it, right?
Yeah.
Put the rock on it.
Yeah, and then you can seal the cracks and put what they call an Onex on there, which is just a thicker black oil base. And then they have what they call a micro surfacing, which is it's like a real thick black oatmeal that you put on there, and it puts on a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch layer. That is supposed to last for 10 years, but the longer it lasts, the more money.
More
it costs.
money, yeah.
Yeah. So, if we don't get this sales tax, the streets are going to get in pretty bad
Sure.
shape. That's the only way you can look at it. So.
So that 1/2 cent, you're thinking of 1/2 cent?
So the half-cent sales tax that we're getting rid of, we want to replace it with a half-cent sales tax that will be used only for infrastructure, and that is sewer, water, and street. And and that's all it can be used for. A city is only as good as its infrastructure, and we have neglected our infrastructure for years now.
Because of the lack of funding.
Because of the lack of
Mainly,
funding.
yeah.
And as your tax base shrinks, which it has, I mean, we've lost, I think, what was 1.7%.
Yeah, roughly.
Every year we've lost a population. Now we're supposed to be in a sustainability mode from here on out,
Yeah.
is what they're telling us.
That's
but
what they're saying.
hopefully that's the case. But if you look at some of the towns that slowly deteriorate, the infrastructure is the first thing. As that tax base goes, you pay for, sheriff's protection, you pay for fire, you pay for those things that keep you safe.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to slip on roads, you have to slip on your water. If you think our road infrastructure is bad, you ought to see our water infrastructure. We've got patches on parts of town where we had, earlier in the year we had 5 leaks out over close to 2nd Street. So, and some of those are just a block of patches. So we've got to do something about that as far as replacing infrastructure. So you can do it one of two ways. You can go in and raise everybody's rates an enormous amount of money and do it that way. Or you can basically keep a half-cent sales tax that you're already paying today, that we're retiring something early, and we're replacing it with this one. We'll put it to vote, and people are going to have to make a choice. They'll have the
It's
choice.
up to
Well, it has
So
to
it's
be
up to
voted
the
on,
people.
right?
Yeah,
Council
it's
just
not
can't-
something we're going to put on
Yeah.
you.
Right.
This is going to be placed on the ballot, on the August 7th ballot, where people can make their own choice of whether they want to see it or not. I hope they voted in. I support it. The council voted it to put it on the ballot. I fully support that as an advocate of the citizens because it's the right thing to do as far as maintaining your community. It's about $240,000 a year that we can be using towards infrastructure.
Right, and I think this year, when we sat down, the finance committee sat down, and we figured out actually what cash we were gonna have to spend on the,
190 or somewhere in there. It
yeah,
wasn't very,
it was around $200,000 is all we had to spend. That's on streets, that's on everything. So it's not like we're going through millions of dollars and we still need more. We're just, we just don't have the money to spend.
and the thing is, your wages on your city employees, if you give them a cost of living adjustment, it's 2 to 3% every year.
Right, yeah.
So those costs are going up. And then material costs are going up.
Well,
And if we only have the same amount of money to put at it at $190,000 or $200,000, we're never going to catch up.
No.
So we're trying to catch up for years of neglect. And that's what this proposal is. That's what you'll be voting on in August. If you want it, I strongly suggest you vote for it. Otherwise, your rates will probably go up.
Yeah.
More than
Yeah.
than they need to.
and it's already there. it's
Yeah.
it's
And-
Right.
And this CDBG grant has a tremendous impact on us. It could cost everybody up to $2 a month if we don't get that grant. And people, have various reasons for not filling that out. And a lot of them it is that, I don't want the city to know what
Well,
we're making.
that's-
I tell you what, that's the furthest thing from our mind. We
Yeah.
could care less what people are making. We really want to get the numbers out there so we can make a difference to the community. Believe me.
well,
Yeah, and the way that the income part is set up, it's so
You don't-
vague that you can't tell. It's just,
no.
if
We
we
just
can get,
need numbers.
right, if
Well,
we
it's
can get
based
this,
on it's based on family members, and it's
Right.
a wide range
Right.
thing. It's not a specific number.
right,
Yeah.
if we can get this done, it lasts for more than 1 year.
Yeah, it
Through
could
like-
last probably 2021,
Yeah,
and we have $600,000 available to us
every year.
every
Wow.
year to work
So
on
it's-
infrastructure.
it's
huge,
Yeah,
huge.
sure,
Because we're only talking 240 on this
Sure.
half-cent sales tax.
Yeah.
Think about 600,000
Yeah,
on
Plus
top
the
of that.
240, yeah.
Yeah.
Then
That's
we could get caught up
800,000,
real
yeah.
quick. And if we get caught up, it's not to say we wouldn't take that half-cent sales tax back away
Right.
if it does get voted
Yeah,
in.
sure.
We're not wanting to penalize.
yeah, we don't want excess, we just want to keep
No.
the infrastructure up.
Do you plan on having meetings? So the important thing is get the education, get the
Right.
get
Right.
the word out and educate.
We'll have I plan on having a town hall about it, so
Okay.
people can ask questions,
Sure.
and I want to go through our 5-year plan of what
Mm-hmm.
we want to do. As far as it's public knowledge, it's
Right.
been published in our minutes before. I think anybody that knows, been watching city council meetings, we go through that plan.
Yeah.
And we've got a 5-year plan out now, so
Yeah, so-
it's pretty transparent what we're doing.
Well, the city should be congratulated on getting anything paid, paid off that early, but it doesn't happen all the time, you
No.
know. And so that makes that possibility to do that. So it's not an additional tax, it's just there.
Right.
No.
And like you say, get educated and that grant,
Yeah.
I keep talking, I was telling them, Brendan and Tim, that everyone I talked to said, do fill it out. Well, and you mentioned, conspiracy kind of thing,
Yeah,
and you just got to, and it's all, you aren't selling the information to anyone or anything
No.
like that. No,
But
it helps you know it helps, when it goes, it makes us eligible for the grant,
Right.
is what it is, bottom line.
And the city they did it years ago. I
Yeah.
remember that we went around and they rehabbed some houses. We took some houses down.
Yeah,
That was CDBG grant. So it is possible to do, and the people of Phillipsburg have done it before. So
Sure.
it can be done.
Right.
Okay, well, I'm sure, well, we'll talk more about this but
Right.
about the sales tax. Well, good. Anything else? Everything else going?
Going pretty good.
Going good?
Got a good council. And of course, the city's got good employees, no doubt about it.
Yeah, right.
We're just, we're having a lot of committee meetings because we're trying to get the best bang for the buck.
Sure.
We're trying to, we're turning over everything about what it amounts to. And seeing if there's a better way, a cheaper way, how we can stretch the dollars. And I would say probably on average there is 3 to 4 committee meetings a week.
Easily.
Easily.
Okay.
So we are spending the time.
Does that ceiling work pretty good? Does it where you and Phillipsburg is not the only. You see it on the highways. You see the ceiling, where you
The crack
Mm-hmm.
ceiling,
yeah, the crack ceiling. Yeah.
it'll work even better if you can put
Have
that
something
onyx over the
Right.
top of
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
It'll last even longer. So if we
Okay.
could get 4 years out of our roads,
And-
what I like to see is that micro stuff that lasts 10.
And microsurfacing.
The microsurfacing, and put that on like 7th Street and 2nd where it goes to
For the long-
asphalt
Yeah.
and go all the way out Fisher Drive.
Yeah.
Because those are traveled well.
They are, yeah.
There's a lot of traffic on those roads. And if you can make those last a little bit
Yeah,
longer,
sure. Yeah,
that'd be great.
So, okay. Well, I'm sure we'll be seeing you there again. Which I appreciate the fact you did come on this morning and kind of fill it in. But so if you want a good place to live, you have to pay for it. Really,
Yeah.
bottom
that's-
line.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
very
true.
good.
All right.
Okay,
All right,
thank
thanks,
you,
Ed.
man.
Appreciate
Thank you, Tim, Brett, and also Mayor and Angie next. Is Angie okay? Anyone else out there? Oh, okay. We'll be talking to Terry Thomason in just a little bit, or after we finish the Angie. Okay. The program Tadpoll also brought to you by Phillips County Health Systems, Olive Bovey Memorial Chapel, Stephen E. Russ, your State Farm agent, Sonic Drive-In. Like us on Facebook to see our Sonic deals. Phillipsburg Chamber and Main Street, where the roads are paved with opportunity. Farmers and Ranchers Outlet and J&R High-Vac are there. They make it possible for us to talk about different things, and I always enjoy talking with Angie. If I'm down in the dumps, all I have to do is talk to Angie, and you get me back up there.
Woohoo! We just get really excited, don't we? So
Okay, Riverless Festival. That's not too
yes.
far away.
No, it's not this Saturday, but it's the next Saturday.
yeah,
So
okay.
the first Saturday in June. So we're really excited. We're gonna have the fun run. Phillips County Health Systems is doing the fun run. They're
Sure.
the first ones, and so it is. Registration's gonna be at 6:45 a.m.
All right.
And it's at the Golden Years Senior Center, so right down the street here. And then they're going to have the 2-mile run walk at 7:30 in the
Okay,
morning. And then they're doing the kids half-mile race at 8:30.
Okay.
So we're going to have
Wow.
flyers up. I'm going to be putting them all around town and everything. And so if anyone has any questions, just give us a call. If you have questions about the run, call Tara Overmiller and at the
Hospital.
hospital, and she will get you all set up for that. So that's the first thing. And then, of course, we'll have the turtles on the track. So got the turtle races going. That's going to, registration's going to be at 9:30 in the morning. And then the races will start at 10. So you have to wait just a little while, and I know it's kind of congested and confusing, and we've talked about the turtles and all that. And I have not seen one turtle.
I have not either. I don't know. Can it be any size turtle? I don't think you'd want to
No snappers. No, it says no snappers right here. And so I want to keep these fingers.
sure,
So
right.
no snappers. But kiddos, find your turtles. You would think with this rain,
Yeah,
it probably
they
would have
come
brought
out.
them up and they would be somewhere. But I have not seen anything.
Used to see them going across the highway,
I know.
and turn around and miss them, and then hope you make it. But
That's right.
yeah.
One time I stopped. It's funny. One time I was coming back from Hayes and I seen a turtle and I thought, oh, it's gonna get smashed. So I got out. I pulled over and I got out of my car and I just kind of took it to the other side and this car was behind me and they pulled over and they were like, "Ma'am, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm just helping a turtle across the road." And they were like, "Oh my gosh, this crazy woman!"
Gee.
And I'm like, "Well, got back in my car and I'm like, oh gosh, what do people think? Did they take my license? Whatever." But I'm an animal lover, so I
sure,
had to help
fine.
a
That's
turtle.
great.
Anyway, and then we got the craft fair, and we got a lot of new crafters coming in this year. Some really
okay,
neat
good.
stuff. We're going to be full on the courthouse square. Men's softball tournaments gets started at 8:00. Ryan Swatzel is taking that over this year.
Okay,
So
all right.
Ryan's number is 302-0335. So if they want to call him and get a team already, it's $150 for a team. We have Tom and Dan Wyman are going to be our DJs in the morning from 10 to noon. And then we have Red Line Velocity, that's Tommy Watt and his band are coming to
Okay,
play
all right.
in the afternoon.
Okay,
So that's
all
something new this year. We're not having a talent show. No talent show. Strongman competition sponsored by Hometown Grounds and Scott McCobb Bookstore, Chad, at 3:00. We got the inflatables are coming for the kids. We have the virtual reality roller coaster is coming back, so that's going to be a lot of fun. We got the car, the truck, the bike show that's going to be here on 3rd Street, so we'll have that. We got plaques and trophies and all that stuff for them. So if they want to come out and show off their cars, their bikes, their trucks, whatever they have. I did want to mention our sponsors, if that's okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, I'll read them real quick. So our sponsors, our platinum sponsors is the Morgan Foundation, the Cole Foundation, First National Bank and Trust, Tamco, Next Tech, Farmers State Bank. Okay. Our gold sponsors, Midwest Family Health, Prairie Horizon Ag Energy, Whitmer Drug, Blossoms and Butterflies, Heritage Insurance Group, Farmers National Bank, Scott McCoppin Bookstore, Hometown Grounds, Rogers and Associates Insurance, and Phillipsburg Chiropractic Center. And let me tell you about the Phillipsburg Chiropractic Center. This is Dustin's 15 years of being open and seeing patients, and so he's going to have a watermelon feed down there in front of his office, and then he's going to have a drawing, $150 drawing, all this neat kind of stuff down at that area. Sally's going to be open down there with the Shepherd's Mill, so she's going to have some neat stuff. And then Angela, which is Doug Eiserhagen's daughter, has just become partner. So that's really exciting. So they're going to have a money tree, and so you can go and you can try to win the money tree.
Okay,
so and then Westbrook's going to be open on that side of the street. So they're going to be all over the place. We're just going to have everything everywhere.
Get things going off the square a little bit, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's
so
great.
it's just going to be really exciting and fun. And so, okay, let me carry on. Silver is going to be Science Solutions, Dr. Ron Judeman, Dr. Bill Miller, White's Food Liner, Dubs Liquor, Coombs Inc., Golden Plains Credit Union, Sawyer's Ace Hardware, East Center, Dana Graham and Agency. And then bronze is State Line Properties, Ames Law, Crossroads Vet Clinic, Mapeson Miller, Phillips County Retirement Center, Eisenhagen Accounting and Tax, Shopco, B&B Ready Mix, Roadway Inn and Suites, Olive Bovey Memorial Chapel, Phillips County Abstract and Title, and Stephen Rust Agency, State Farm.
Now these sponsors help with some of your expenses.
Yes,
Is that what they do?
yes.
Okay.
They get to pick their level, and then they help run. Help do everything. Like with the the prizes for the turtle
okay.
races.
Oh, okay.
The prizes for the strong, different things that they do. The bring in the band, bring in the DJ. They help with a lot of different things for that. And so we could not have a Riverless if we did not have sponsorship.
Sure,
I mean,
yeah.
because
Sure,
they're,
right, yeah.
people are just amazing and generous, and so it's really nice.
wow.
But anyway, like I said about the softball tournament, I just kind of printed a few things off, but they can get a hold of Tara for the run, Ryan for the men's softball, and then for me for everything else.
Okay.
That's right. So just contact me. We're going to have some great food booths this year. Awesome food. So if you want sloppy joes, fried bologna, a hamburger, a hot dog, a snow cone, a cotton candy, Philly cheesesteak, a chicken fajita wrap,
Chili feast. You're on Philly cheesecake.
Philly cheesesteak trucks coming in, so
wow.
we're gonna have that this
Okay,
year. They're
wow.
new, and then we're also gonna have the Boy Scouts are gonna do their thing, and the Cub Scouts are gonna do a Frito pie. I mean, so you won't go away hungry.
Okay.
Plus, we got two food people are gonna have homemade ice cream. So you can get homemade ice cream, cotton candy, and homemade pies. We're gonna have
Wow.
homemade pies. We're gonna have lots of different things, and so I'm really excited about the food this year because you need to gain 10 pounds at Riverless, so that would just be awesome. But and then walk it off.
Sure,
you
right,
could do the
right.
run in the morning,
Okay,
and then you could come and get food.
So will the band be on the east side square like always on the
Yep,
thing
band's
there?
gonna be over on the east side.
That's
and
where your other stuff's going to be, the bouncies and
Yes,
all
yes.
that.
So
Okay.
that's all blocked off, and then the food's going to be all on F Street and
Okay.
the virtual reality, and then on 3rd Street's going to be the car and the
Cars.
bike, and then the crafters all along
Sure.
there and stuff.
Yep.
And they're not doing the golf. They're going to sell tickets still for the golf ball drop, but they're not having the drop on that Saturday.
What, they have it later on?
They're
or
going to
something?
have it some other time.
Okay, but
yeah.
they are selling tickets.
They will
Okay.
sell tickets, and
All
if
right.
you want to buy a ticket for the golf ball drop, contact Taylor Reddinger or Ginger Tweedy, and
Okay.
they'll get you hooked
All
up with the
right.
ticket.
Okay,
So,
all
really excited. I mean, I'm just, it's coming up, and
Week from day after tomorrow, isn't it? Wow.
yep.
That's it. Do you ever take a vacation or anything?
No, I don't. No, I just the wheels are always turning, and I want to be, excited for it because I think that gets
Sure,
other people
sure, right,
energized,
yeah.
and I'm just really, I love my job, which I've told you that a million times. Another thing I wanted to talk to you about was. I talked to you last week, I think, about the barn quilts.
Oh yeah. Oh,
the
they
planters.
look great.
And someone stopped me the other day, and they said, you're going to cause an accident. And I'm just like, what? And they're like, you're going to cause an accident. I'm like, okay, well, I was thinking in my head, okay, I do walk a street, walk around a lot. And I'm thinking, well, sometimes I might not pay attention. But they're like, no, the barn quilts. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
They are.
And they were like, yeah, people are looking through
I
them
know,
instead of paying
I
attention
catch
now they're
myself.
driving.
Yeah,
So,
I'm gonna rear
yes.
end someone. But I think,
hope not.
anyhow, it's really, really. And I can imagine what people going through.
Yes.
They don't know anything at all about Phillipsburg, Kansas, and they
Right.
see that and how
Right.
neat. Plus the plants and everything.
Yep.
When they get up above the,
Yes.
that's
They'll
gonna.
be
Oh, that's
beautiful.
really
Yes,
yeah.
they're beautiful. But Convention and Visitors Bureau has, paid for that, like I said, and then we had the wonderful people who volunteered their time to make them, and we could not. I mean, it's on our Facebook page.
Do you have them all up yet?
We're still missing 4.
4. Okay.
Yes, I think 4 or 5.
Yeah,
We're
it
still missing.
it really looks nice.
We just added a couple more the day before yesterday,
yeah.
and so at Midwest Family Health.
Yeah.
So we've been having the people that are painting them taking their picture, and so we've been posting that on the
wow.
website,
That's
or
great.
not the website, but the Facebook page.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, I'm just really excited
It
about it.
looks nice.
A
You
lot
can-
of great things happening in Phillipsburg, and we just really, 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 I want to stress, I know that Brenda and Tim were in here, but really stress people doing that survey. I mean, we
yeah.
really need them to do that survey.
any-
So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Anything else?
I don't know. I'm sure there is, but I don't know. I'm just excited to see you today, and so,
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. And
yeah.
I missed a meeting the other night, and you were concerned about my health. I think
right.
wasn't it? I
That's
wasn't.
right.
I missed a meeting. I forgot all about it. Just completely forgot all
And
about it.
hey, I was walking this morning and seen that you are going to be in Wichita.
State track.
Yes,
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. You
I'm looking
deserve
forward
that.
to it. Yeah,
I'm so
well, I don't know,
excited.
but I really, it's going to be neat, I think,
Good.
and be there and see a lot of people I've known through the years. I
Yes.
went down there 45 years. I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah,
Well,
I didn't. There it was, and
Yes.
okay.
well,
but,
congratulations.
thank you.
And
Thank
I'm
you.
very excited for
Well,
you, Tad. That's a
I
great
suppose
honor.
I suppose you want to come on next Thursday and give a last minute push.
I probably will. People are probably tired of me, but I'm just going to keep coming.
Okay.
So they're going to have to be tired of me or not. But
Okay,
yes.
we will plan on you next
Okay,
week and a final
sounds great.
update on the Railroads Festival.
Perfect. Have a great day.
Okay. All right. I think is Terry? You got Terry there? I'm going to probably have to have the headset, right? So I can. Okay. Now, if I forget how this works, this is my phone. All right. We're going to put the headset on here. All right. And are we there? Okay. Here. This is how we're going to do it. Are you there, Terry?
Yeah, Tad, I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning. How are things going with you?
Oh, things are going great. I think we're going to finally get some summertime weather, so happy about that.
And you know, we talked to the other day, and it was cold over the weekend, was it, or something? It really got down.
Yeah, it was. I think Saturday we had a high of like 40 degrees.
Wow. Okay. So
88 today will be a nice change.
okay, let's talk. The reason why we're talking about next year. You and Susan are heading back east with the kids, but you're looking for some more people to go along. Is that right?
Well, yeah, it turns out we're going to have a few extra spots, and so we wanted to let everybody know that we had a few spots, and anybody in the area that might be interested in joining us, certainly be happy to have them. So if they want to do that, they can give me a call, and we can fill them in on what they would need to do.
Okay, and either adults or students, right?
Yeah, either or. We've got room for adults and students. So anybody, like I said, that's interested, we'd be happy to take along. We've got a lot of new stuff next year that we're going to do. Of course, we added the Empire State Building. I think we're going to do that again this year. And then one really fun thing was getting to see Mount Vernon. We're going to keep that in the trip next year too. So
Yeah. You had
it's tough to see if anybody wants to go.
you had little tough luck. Well, not tough luck, tough weather this year.
Yes.
kind of shut things down in Washington a little bit.
Yep, we sure did. We've gone a little earlier than we used to, and this year and last year both, we got hit with snow in Washington, D.C., so, but we made the best of it. Wasn't too bad at all.
So how many years will that make you going back?
Oh, gosh, I don't know, Tad. At least 12, and
Okay.
I went sporadically on the years before that.
Sure,
So,
right.
yeah, and I think Susan's gone probably 25,
Wow.
30 years, so a lot of years.
Yeah, a lot of years, a lot of fun back there and going there, but it's stressing to get in touch with you. So they want to go because they still have a few openings there. And what's the date? What are the dates this year?
We're going to leave on March 17th, same date that we left this year, so it'll be on that Sunday, March 17th.
Oh, on St. Patrick's Day, right?
Yep, on St. Patrick's Day.
Okay, I think that's the 17th, is it? Okay, and
Yep,
you,
it sure is.
yeah, you had a lot this year. I mean, how many buses or coaches you end up with? 3?
We had 3 coaches this year, had 121 people this year.
And I can imagine. Did it go well?
It went very well. We had enough leaders in the group that it went very well, and no issues at all. Of course, it's challenging any time in New York City to get a group 2 times
Yes,
there.
yes.
It was a little bit more challenging with 121 people, but
Yeah.
we got them there.
No, it's amazing. And when people see, it's wall to wall people in Times Square. I mean, it's always there. 3 in the morning. It seems like it. So, all right.
It sure is.
Okay.
It's never lack for a crowd there.
Okay, so who should they contact? They can contact me if they want to, and I can get the information, or they can go right to you. And what's your number again? There. What?
Okay. Yeah, they can do that. Contact you if they want to call me directly. The number is 303-808-6864.
Okay, that's to give you a call. How many? What was that number again? You gave? I thought you 60. What was the number again?
It's 303
Okay.
808
Okay.
6864.
I thought you gave 4 numbers in the but no, that's fine there. And just give you a call, and you'll give them all the details of what you're doing and everything. And I recommend it if you've always wanted to go to New York City. I mean, that's why that was the first time I went. That's what it took, and that from then on, it was just a love affair there. But
That's right.
you go with someone that knows what's going on, and then you know where to go and everything. And then you can go back on your own and kind of expand on that. No, it's great there. So, how's everything else going?
That's what we want them to do.
Yeah, how's everything else going?
Going great. Going great. We're just busy planning the trip. So,
Okay, well.
like we do every year.
No, I know, and I haven't had any peanut brittle lately.
Well, it's time to do that, I guess, huh?
Just kidding. Say hello to Susan and Barbara and Mervin for me, and
I will do it.
and I hope the weather stays like you like it back there and everything, and I'll be talking to you. And hopefully, you'll get some more people to come in there and make that trip another big success.
Yep, we're planning on it. So thanks, Tad, for letting us talk about it. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you, Terry. Bye.
All right, yeah, bye.
Okay. And Terry Thomason about the trip back east, and again, I think I went back 40 times with him. It's really a special event. Well, anyone else out there? Rachel? Okay. Never know who's going to show up here on the Tadpoll. Okay. Yep. All right. Again, I'm going to mention Saturday. We're going to be doing our sports talk Saturday morning at 9 o'clock from Cessna Stadium. Now, we may be at the finish line. We may be in the stands. I don't know where we're going to be yet. We have permission from Casey to do it. So we're going to be down there somewhere, and we've already made some talked with people who are going to be with us. I know Justin Juneman's going to be with us. Jack Dressler said he's going to be there. Hopefully we get Gary Musselman and his replacement coming on, and anyone else that we talked to. I think we're going to work on other coaches and athletes, and then and this comes down to how I'm feeling, getting around out on the infield, maybe talking to someone when they finish a race or finish a field event or something like that. We're going to be doing that, and then 2 o'clock, the ceremony thing, which I'm glad Rachel's going to be there doing that and having a chance to do that. So it's going to be a busy Saturday. We're going down tomorrow evening and get ready. Have to go to the Outback and get ready for the weekend. So we hope that you have a very, very good Memorial Day, and if you're traveling, drive carefully, and if you have family reunions, enjoy all that too, because it's great when you get together with the family. Well, all right, I guess that's it. Next Thursday we'll be here again. I'm sure we'll talk about CDBG and also about other things, the Riverless Festival. So we'll look forward to seeing you there, and then we'll see you from Wichita on Saturday. And thanks again, Rachel, for setting us up, and we'll be seeing you at Wichita too. That's it.